late. He said, just go without him. He'll be here as soon as he can. He had a, yes, yes. Everyone else is here, so. That's my fault then if I misspelled it. That is all me, because I did it without my glasses on, trying to hurry up. Uh, 1 minute. 1 minute. Books in order the way they're coming in. How do you see yourself serve our citizens? The way it should be. Serve our citizens. Yeah. All right. Good evening. I'm going to call this special called council meeting to order. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Chairman Frank Baptist, who's head of the Personnel Committee.
Good evening. The purpose of this meeting is to find a person to fill the vacancy of Mr. Bill Donner, who served the citizens over the last two decades with dignity and honor with his decisions. With that, I would like to ask everyone to stand, remove their head covering as Mayor Farmer brings the invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilmember Judd Hart.
Let's pray. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for the opportunity you've given us. We thank you for the responsibility that you put on us. And Father, as we listen to the candidates come in and tell us why they want to serve the citizens of Benton, let us keep an open heart and an open mind. But most of all, Father, let us humble ourselves and let your Holy Spirit fill us in such a way that we choose the person you have chosen to fill this position. God, just be with us and guide us through every decision we make. I ask thee in your Son's precious name. Amen.
Amen.
To the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We have allotted 20 minutes for each candidate to answer 8 questions. Each council person has a question at their desk to ask the candidates. In hopes of consistency with each candidate, each council member will ask the same question to each candidate. We have allotted roughly 2 to 2.5 minutes for the candidate's response per each question. I've asked Councilmember Valines to keep the time for us. And at this time, I would allow me to introduce first candidate, Brett Streister.
Oh, we didn't do roll call.
Pardon? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
We're good.
Yes, here.
Here.
Properly noticed in open meeting in compliance with Arkansas Freedom of Information Act as amended by Act 505 of 2025. Frank Baptist,
Yes.
Steve Brown, Ian Spencer Cole,
Yes.
Evelyn Reed,
Yes.
Jeff Morrow,
Yes.
Judd Hart,
Yes.
Trevor Valines,
Yes.
Steve Lee, Jeff Ham.
Let the record show, Mr. Brown called and said he would be late, so we'll just continue on without him, and then we'll read that statement for him to answer when he gets here.
Please, at this time, allow me to introduce candidate Brett Strassner. Mr. Ham, if you will start the questioning, then each council member to the immediate right will proceed with the next question.
Did I hear you correctly?
You will read the first question.
Okay, the first question on the list? Yes. Okay. How long have you been a resident of Benton?
Well, that's a interesting conversation because technically I've lived here my entire life. Now, have I purchased a home in the last 3 years? Yes, sir. I've been a permanent resident as of 3 years ago. Yes, sir.
The question that I've got, that's the very same question. That I got my name on it, please. Please tell us how long you've been a resident in Benton.
Sure. My address is 808 Pinewood Drive,
I got you.
Benton, Arkansas, 72019.
Could you please repeat that? I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. It's 808 Pinewood Drive, Benton, Arkansas, 72019. Subdivision of Brownwood.
Mr. Strassner, if you could tell us your understanding of the role of a councilperson.
So it is to not only represent your ward, but also to represent the best interest of the city itself. Now, whether that means that is the popular opinion or the actual legal opinion, that is determined by the law itself. But as a alderman, we as the council should follow the letter of the law. So the idea is to, no matter what is put up, ordinance, resolution, we are to represent the ward due to the letter of the law. We are to do so not only as public opinion, whether that's good or bad, but to represent the city for according to the letter of the law.
So to apply for the position.
So that is a interesting one. I've been in and out of the city. I've worked for the city as IT interim director for a couple years, but I worked in the city for that. I find myself not only arguing with citizens, but also people outside of the city about the state of not only this union, but our the United States itself. And I find that if I'm going to do that, I might as well step into the representation role so that I can not only do it from a letter of the law standpoint, but also from I have a leg to stand on at that point. Absolutely. So there is a couple ideas in regarding that. Not only coming to these council meetings, but I have a strong affinity for public service, fire department, police. And I find myself that I would love to step into the committee role of not only public safety, but I want to serve on the side of public safety. Alderman Donner spent many years doing that, and I would love to honor him by doing that exact role. The second way is by being with not only talking to citizens, but representing them, being part of them. A lot of people my age do not step into these roles, and I honestly believe that that is a idea that needs to be done and should be done for people around the age of 30. I mean, I'm turning 30 this year, and I think it's time for us as people, us as a generation, to step up and represent. And I would love to be that role for them. Trevor has done a great job, and I honestly recommend him for, you're going to do great, and, and I'm honestly very proud of it. I come from a family of public servants. My mother is literally right there, and I do not stand against that. Don't hold that against me. She is my mother. But my father also served many years on this council, and I find that this is what I, as an individual, should do, because this is what I should do. Not because of where my family comes from, but because of, we sat around the kitchen table talking politics since I was 5 years old. And that is where I find myself standing and wanting to be part of it, because that is where I find my home.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Will you be campaigning for the position come August of this year?
Absolutely. Whether this council gives me the honor or not, I will be running in November, and I will be campaigning for that.
Last question. Oh, he's back. Okay.
On you all, following Baptist. Yeah, no worries. Yes. Sorry for my tardiness. Brett, do you have any additional things you'd like to ask us of the council or the mayor, and anything else that you would like to tell us about yourself that you haven't shared already?
Sure. So, don't have any questions, but I appreciate the opportunity. Now, I would like it to be noted that for the past 2 years, I have served as a lobbyist, and not only a private standpoint, but also I've served with a defense contractor for lobbying positions. I have never taken a salary from any of that. I do it strictly because I care and I want to see the advancements. Now, I don't know if that is a good or a bad thing against you, but I want it to be noted that for the past 2 years, I have served as a lobbyist, and that has led me to this decision. And that is something that, whether you hold that against me or not, that is up to y'all. But I believe that is something I must state. Sure.
What do you see are kind of the needs of your, of Ward 3 that you would like to see addressed?
I'm not aware at this time. I appreciate the question though. Well, you know, even in my subdivision, that there's a lot of those. I have to stop my wife every morning from picking one up, but
But I've got one question. What are the biggest challenges that you see for the city currently?
sure. There is, hope I don't shoot myself in the foot with this, but regarding the private school, I personally think the council made a wrong decision by voting it down. There is legal precedent for them to be in this city. That is not a religious standpoint by me. That is I have looked into multiple private schools that have been given that, and I think the city made a poor decision by revoking it.
Brett, just a follow-up question, related to the information you shared with us about, your activity as a lobbyist. If you are appointed, do you anticipate continuing in that role, or is that something that you would set aside?
No, sir, I will set that aside.
Thank you.
Brett, can you talk more about your role in working for the city, what you kind of did day to day,
Sure.
and kind of how that, prepared you for today to apply for this city council position?
Absolutely. So I served as the IT support specialist. I did everything from hooking up a printer to server management to that side. That allowed me to not only build a relationship with our current mayor, but also build a relationship with the individuals that serve the city. I have great honor and respect for every single person that works for the city, and I want to step into this role not only for the citizens, but for them.
Yes. Brett, if you're notified of a problem, regardless of what time of day it is, 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock, whatever, what is your theory on addressing that situation?
Sure. So there is, let's take for example, that there is a tree down that I as an alderman get called about. There is multiple street department individuals that I personally would reach out to regarding that specific situation. Take fire, police, I would reach out to Russ. I would reach out to whoever is on call at the fire or police department. There is multiple avenues that I want to leverage the people that serve the city as a servant of the city. That is best service for the citizens. Now,
All right, if it's a personal issue about homeowners' property,
okay,
how quickly would you be back with them and respond?
sure.
And would you respond by phone or face to face?
I am a firm believer in face-to-face. Now, to set up the initial meeting call, of course I will call them. You don't show up at somebody's house. No matter who you are, you don't knock on somebody's door. That's without notifying them ahead of time. Now, do I think that a personal issue? Yes, I will reach out to them after reaching a time they agree upon, and then go to their house and talk with them about it. The ultimate goal is to be a servant of the people. I want to be a servant of the people, and the best way to get to that is looking somebody in the eye so they can truly understand that you care.
One last question. Is no in your vocabulary? The word no?
No? Yes,
Yes.
sir. Yes, sir. No is in my vocabulary.
Do you use it often?
It depends. If my mother asks me, I will say no, but
I'm
then I will
talking about-
apologize for saying no. But yes, sir. Whether it is something that legally can be done or not, I will say no if it is not legally possible.
All right, if it depart, that, regards to a certain department that you may be involved with,
Sure.
and you visit with them, do you say no, or maybe, or we'll look into it, or we'll get back with you? What's your best answer?
It depends on what they're asking. If they're asking for money, we'll get back to you. Mandy does a great job keeping the books, and I will talk to Mandy about it. If it is something that cannot, I mean, you're asking for something that a shot over the moon. I will say no if that is something that I know already that is not possible. But it honestly depends on a case-by-case basis. I'm not just going to say yes just because a certain person asked for it. That honestly depends on a case-by-case basis, whether it's in the budget or I already know that the council has taken a stand that we're not going to pay for painting private property or something along those lines that I know we can't do anyway. I will say no. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you
for
very
being
much
here.
Well, actually, the only thing I wanted to add, he asked for it. So thank you all very much.
Yeah, it's after, but we're gonna have to go through everyone and then follow up. Okay, we're ready for our next candidate. Welcome, Mr. Slaughter, Mr. Chad Slaughter. We thank you for being here tonight.
Good afternoon. Thank you.
We have allotted roughly 2.5 minutes for each candidate to respond to each question. So don't worry about time as much as you complete your answer.
Okay.
But each council member will ask one question. So at this time, I'd like to begin with my far left, Jeff Ham. I saw Steve there.
Mayor used Mr. Slaughter,
Yes, sir.
how long have you been a resident of Benton?
Of Benton proper, about 14 years. Lived in Saline County for 32 years. When my wife and I got married, we kind of planned on moving here. I moved here about 6 months before we got married. And we knew she was going to go to graduate school at UAMS and then got accepted to Louisiana Tech. So we moved to Louisiana for about a year and then been back ever since.
Thank you.
Please verify your address.
902 Miller Cove. Here in Benton, of course.
Chad, tell us your understanding of the role of a council person.
Honestly, that's changed a little bit in the last few weeks. I've had a great opportunity to speak with most everybody on the council and trying to gain a little more knowledge on, what is involved with it. For me, I see it as an opportunity, number one, to give back, but more importantly, to continue the growth and success that Benton has seen, especially in the last 10 years. I mean, like I said, we've lived here 32 years and it has changed so much. And I honestly feel it's all been for the positive. And that's kind of exactly what I want to see us continue, is to be able to move forward, whether that's through commercial growth, residential growth, being able to put more money in the bank so that we can, do projects, whether it's like the River Center or the trails, things to bring more people to our community and continue the growth and the success that we've seen. That was my intent and my goal of trying to become a member on the council.
What enticed you to apply for the position?
So I have been really blessed with my company. I started CTS Services on a wing and a prayer and a small line of credit about 14 years ago. So I'll back up. My wife and I moved to Miller Cove in, I believe it was July of 2012. And then in October of 2012, I was told that the company that I was working for sold my division to a company out of Texas. So it kind of just totally upset the apple cart. But it gave me an opportunity. Instead of looking at it negatively, it gave me an opportunity to start my own company. And I wanted to have it here in Benton, in Saline County. And so by being able to start my business here and to keep it housed right here, I wanted to be able to grow that. It has done quite well for me because I have the opportunity. My schedule's not as demanding as it used to be, so I'm able to have time, whether it's to be on council meetings, special sessions, or whatever need be. It gives me a time to give back, and I've actually talked to some other leaders in the city and in the county for opportunities, whether it be on a commission or the city council. And then when this position came up, I thought it's a great opportunity for me to truly give back and to become part of, I guess, more ingrained in the community. And that's kind of what I wanted to do, is kind of, I don't want to call it a higher purpose, but, I'm not one to just sit back and do nothing. And I'll say this, I didn't know it was a paid position. I had no clue. I just thought it was a volunteer position until after I'd already submitted my application, my resume, and then I found out, oh, you get paid to do this. I'm like, that's even better. It truly is something that I would love to be able to give back to our community and, again, see the progress continue.
Hey, Chad, good evening, and thanks for being here tonight. How do you see yourself serving our citizens in this role?
I wrote in my application, I answered some of these questions, and I kind of had a certain mindset of, what I thought, I could do, to help the residents in our ward. But I was here last week during that meeting, and, there was a group of people sitting right here. They had some very serious concerns. And I think with my background, in doing industrial environmental cleaning and some regulations, having to run a company from my bedroom starting out, I think that gives me some knowledge to be able to look at plans as they come through, and ask questions as far as, instead of just going, oh yeah, that sounds great. Let's, ask questions on not as it just how it's going to affect the person that's, applying for, whether it be a waiver or an application to build something, how it's going to affect the people around them. So I think that's going to be something that I can help be able to look, hopefully, at the end result, not just on the very beginning, and say, what's it going to do right now, but what's it going to do in 2 years or 5 years to the people of our community, and not just, in our ward, but in the city as a whole. You're welcome. Thank you. I can't speak for the other applicants. I don't know. I know a couple of them, but I don't really know them that well. But I can tell you that with, well over 30 years experience, starting out as a simple little government employee, and then just being able to progress up to the point where I am now. I tell this all the time. We don't have time for it here, but my story on how I became to own CTS Services, for the longest, is like, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this. But whenever you get to this point and you look around, you look on how you got there, I didn't get here. I had somebody carrying me the whole way. And so I don't know, I think that with knowledge, experience, my faith, I think that I can be able to be a point of, when people have questions or they have needs, I can listen. And I truly have compassion for people, and when they have issues and they have concerns. I was talking to a friend of mine today, and no matter what setting I'm in, I've always been able to just stop and listen. Been in sales for a long time, and you don't always push what you want on them. Sometimes you just got to step back and listen. Let them tell you what they need and see if you can answer it. And number one, you never lie to anybody. And number two, if you don't know the answer, you go ask Tom, and Mayor Farmer can answer all the questions from what I understand. No? Yeah. But that, you know, in a nutshell, that's kind of it. Just with knowledge and experience and being able to listen and either answer the questions or find the answers to the questions. Yes, ma'am.
Will you be campaigning for this position come August of this year?
Yes, ma'am. Whether I'm chosen tonight or not, my full intention is to run for election this fall. I just think it's an opportunity that's going to fill what I've been looking for as far as an opportunity to get more involved in our community. And I think that's, you know, it's definitely 100% of what I'm planning on doing this fall, is running.
Chad, thanks for being here. We appreciate you coming and showing your interest in the position. Do you have any questions that you'd like to ask of us or of the mayor? And then is there anything else that you'd like for us to know about you?
I'm not sure if it was proper or not, but I reached out to, I think, everybody on the council, because before I jumped into this ring, I wanted to find out, you know, from each of y'all, you know, what's a positive, what's a negative, and pretty much everybody had positive things to say about it. You know, kind of the same thought process that I have as far as, you know, it's be able to be involved in the community and be forward. You know, I was concerned about, you know, time restraints. I had no idea, you know, how much or how little time was required. Those questions have already been answered. So, I mean, I don't really have a whole lot of questions because y'all have already answered all those for me, which I'm very appreciative of that. As for me, I guess the biggest thing that I'll say is, and I'm trying to get better. I'm 57 years old, and I'm not there. But I always try to put God first and family, and then whatever falls in place, falls in place. And I think that if you truly adopt that philosophy, things will go well. So that's it in a nut. I mean, pretty much it for me. I mean, do y'all have any other questions for me as far as experience, you know, more detailed information on what I can provide for y'all?
What do you see are the needs for Ward 3?
I mean, I feel like our ward is great in the sense that, you know, we don't have a lot of issues. We got good roads. We got good streets. You know, we're growing. You know, there's some new developments lately. As far as major issues, I don't know of any major issues that I have, you know, that I personally have seen or have in our ward. I mean, we've been represented extremely well. So I don't know that there's major issues in what I see in our ward. Now, granted, if I'm chosen, I'm sure my phone will start ringing and I'll find out all the issues. You know, somebody's dog barking or, you know, whatever it may be. But hopefully that'd be the extent of the major concerns.
I'll take that question a step further. What do you see as some of the broader issues that we as a city are either maybe facing this year or will be facing in the years to come?
I mean, my biggest concern is going to be infrastructure. And again, I should be ashamed to say this. I wasn't aware that like Benton Utilities isn't truly part of the city government. I thought it was. As we grow and we grow west and we grow in whatever direction we're going to grow, my concern would be for, you know, are we going to have enough water? We're going to have enough sewer? You know, is the street department going to be able to keep up with, you know, not just having the roads built, but maintaining the roads? And because, you know, especially this area downtown. You know, my office and my shop is down here on River Street. I've got a contractor that's been renting a little spot, lay down spot for me. They've been redoing water lines, and he's like, you know, some of these water lines are 50, 60 years old, you know. That's what I see as one of the biggest concerns that I have as far as how are we going to continue to grow is through, you know, through the infrastructure, electric, utility, water, sewer. Well, I mainly just appreciate the opportunity to be here. I mean, I know it's opened up for whoever wanted to apply, but I really do appreciate the time each of y'all have taken just to visit with me and talk to me and enlighten me. Even, like I said, if I'm not chosen, I have a new respect for the position that y'all have asked for. And I think that's a big ask sometimes, is to ask for that position. So I'm asking for the position. So I appreciate that. I feel like that went way too fast. Is that good or bad?
And showing your interest for the position.
Well, I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all.
He's ready to go.
Okay. Good evening and welcome, Mr. Kevin Simmons.
Yes,
And this evening you will be asked a number of questions, one each from each other council members, and you'll be given 20 minutes, approximately 2.5 minutes for each question. So please take your time, answer to your best ability. At this time, I'd like to start to my far left with Jeff Town. Jeff, if you'll start, please.
Steve, you've been demoted. Mr. Simmons, my name's Jeff Am. How long have you been a resident of Benton?
We moved here in '76, so a couple of days. Roughly, I lived in Bentonville for about 3 years and Little Rock and College a couple times, but Benton has been my home for the better part of 40 years.
Would you please verify your address?
Sure. It's, Steve, I'm sure I look very familiar to you. You coached me when I was 9 years old in basketball, so.
I did?
Yes. Speaking of being here for 40-plus years, that's how long. 1611 Deerfield Road, Benton, Arkansas. 1611 Deerfield Road.
Kevin, if you would, tell us your understanding of the role of a council person.
Sure, I believe the role of a council person is to serve the citizens of the city of Benton. It's to make decisions financially and growing the city such that it meets the ideals that you want the city to grow to be. Benton has a storied history here, and growing it such that it maintains its values, to me, is the role of a council person.
Next question, what enticed you to apply?
You will maybe go to church here now. I usually believe in keeping separation of church and state, but you asked a question, so I will answer it. Matthew, it says, Jesus knelt and took away his cloth and wiped the feet of the disciples. King of Kings kneeling down, showing no greater honor than to serve fellow man. And that's why It's something that I strive to do. I've helped out within my church, within my community, as much as I can here and there, and this was a calling that was put on my heart to do.
Hey, Kevin, good evening. Thanks for being here. How do you see yourself serving our citizens in this role?
Several areas. It's listening to the needs, the concerns, and helping to make decisions. I know that this board has had to make decisions that sometimes it may not always be popular, but you've got to make. But to make decisions, I'm sorry, can you repeat your question? That kind of threw me
How
off.
do you see yourself serving our citizens?
Oh, seeing myself serving, but listening, hearing what has to be said with the people that come before the board, and also the needs come before the council. I know that growing the city is a huge part of struggles that have been there, and the infrastructure requirements, aging infrastructure, but trying to grow it and maintain its image is a hometown city, homegrown city. We've seen the revitalization of downtown Benton, which is huge, but yet you still want to have your Walmarts and your other major businesses. So how do you balance that? So I see balancing the values that have made Benton the gold standard of Saline County and helping maintain that, but at the same time providing for growth.
Kevin, why should this council choose you above all other applicants?
As I said, I've lived here my whole life. I've had calling put on my heart to serve. I feel a need. My family lives here. My friends live here. I've buried a wife here. I have done many things. I graduated here. I've had a lot of firsts. This has been my home. And as I've said, again, you make me go back to church again. Serve you God with all your heart, soul, and mind. And the second commandment Jesus gave was to love your neighbor. And by all means, if anybody's got a better reason than that, hire them, not me. But that's why.
Will you be campaigning for this position come August of this year?
Yes, I do plan to campaign for this position.
Thank you.
Kevin, thank you for being here. We really appreciate it. Thank you for your interest in the position and desire to serve. Are there any questions that you have of us or the mayor? Two-part question. And then is there anything else that you'd like for us to know about you?
I would just ask, how will you know that you've hired the right person when you make the selection for this position? That would be my question for the board. Who are you looking for?
I'll go first. We're looking for problem solvers. You mentioned growth and keep that prosperity. And I was reading in your letter about interesting blend of old and new and social characteristics, and you want to help ensure that our older neighborhoods are not left behind. Could you expound a little bit on that? The older neighborhoods, you mean as far as infrastructure?
The infrastructure, maintaining, there's some beautiful old neighborhoods. Mr. Hart lived, if I remember correctly, on Cornett, right down the street from my parents at one time. I graduated high school with Justin Cornett. His grandfather owned that land. You want to talk about a little history here? I'll do a quick one. Leon and Eleanor there, I believe, are the children. Leon was Justin's father. I don't know how many people know that. The man that lived at the end of it, Leon, the head mechanic of the Enola Gay, lived a quiet life in Benton, Arkansas. The man that dropped the atomic bomb, who was in charge of the airplane that dropped the atomic bomb. That's history. So maintaining that knowledge, maintaining the houses that have been so beautiful and kept so great, while at the same time growing neighborhoods. We see a housing shortage. If anybody's tried to buy a house, and if you could ever imagine making offers 10, 15% over the value of a house for those of us that bought houses over the years, it's amazing. So growing houses, getting new houses, but at the same time, there's a lot of beautiful infrastructure, a lot of beautiful homes here. They've been here for years. Keeping those behind, ensuring schools, the utilities, I've seen a lot of digging going in the yards with internet services, making sure that not only the new homes, but the older homes, the older neighborhoods are not left behind for that. And not being taxed either when, and by that I mean stressed, sewage, water demands when those come, ensuring that the infrastructure keeps up.
Another question, what do you see as, or what do you see as the kind of needs for Ward 3?
Ward 3 is the perfect blend of old and new to me. It is, you see a lot of growth there. There are a lot of older homes. We are the blend, if you will. So I see the need with roads. There's a lot of areas where roads are in bad disarray. Making sure trees are trimmed back, as again, older trees. You get back into snowfall times, keeping everything clean, going right. Internet services, making sure that things are laid out that it also allows for growth. I've seen that before too, where it always cracks me up when the power can go out and your lights are on, and the guy across the street lights are off, or vice versa, and you come to find out it's because when it was done, it made sense at the time, and now we got this, because it wasn't planned right, it wasn't looked at. And so I think Ward 3 has to keep an eye on that, because we are kind of the poster children, if you will, for old and new.
What are some specific issues that you see that we need to address as a city moving forward, and what would be your thought process on addressing said issues?
I think some of the biggest issues facing the city, again, I keep going back to it, but is the infrastructure. Water, sewage, all this. I see us growing. I see new neighborhoods where there were trees when I grew up as a child, and now we're expanding neighborhoods, and I'm concerned about the demands that that'll put on an aging water system, electrical, again, internet service has become a standard service provided these days, and yet we're already starting to see, I've been a victim of it as a work from home adult. I rely on that for my job, and I've had issues myself. So I see that being a growing issue. God help us all, but school violence, protecting kids should be one of the foremost issues before any city council these days. We see in the news every day issues that should not be there, that we didn't have to grow up with, but we've inherited. We just gonna sit there and watch? We're gonna do something about it. But to me, the city council should be I think education programs, I think that you have to have police presence at all times, and at least in the front of the schools, let it be known. I think there has to be locked door policies on some of the schools, or at least, you have to have the emergency exits, but with the school doors, making sure that you're watching who's coming in and out. Electronic surveillance, cameras. Are key. We are in a digital age. Let's take advantage of it. But I think that is critical in areas like this, to let it be known. Volunteers, there are a lot of parents that want the same things that I'm talking about. Getting the parents involved, getting them to help be there during school hours if they can, if they have time, to help guard. Not just use the police, but there's a lot of things that you have to get creative for creative problems.
Are you aware of watchdog badge and all that in place?
I-
Police officer in the school.
I did know you have a,
We have plans to put the police in school.
I was not aware, I knew that we had police currently in every school there. Right. And that's good. And it's one of the reasons why we have not, fortunately, made the news. However, there's always a chance, and then we've always got to be growing and looking. And there's a lot of schools that have thought they had it covered. So we've got to keep diligent in looking and finding new ways. Where does, School falls into it. You have to have teachers. I know my sister's a teacher. We do programs right now to lock the doors, how to guard the doors. The schools have to fall into it by educating the teachers and what to do in a school violence situation, what to look for, looking for troubled students before it happens, how alerting parents. I know there's been a couple situations that happened in Bryant recently where there were notifications sent out of hoaxes online. So are you monitoring online for what's going on? And are you notifying? How are those notifications being sent out? How are you controlling what may be a false story and what's not? So I think the schools have to be actively involved there with knowing who the students are and what's going on, what's being said in the hallways.
Any other questions?
Mr. Simmons, Jeff Ham again.
Yes.
You mentioned beautification of the grounds within the city. Do you believe the Parks Department and the Street Department are doing an adequate job in keeping things looking?
I think so.
Nice.
I see what has gone on, especially Sunset Park, which I remember going fishing there as a kid, which was more than a hole in the world with a little bit of water at one time, and now it has a walking path. It's being cleaned up. I know there are the volleyball courts, the soccer fields, and I've watched that and been kept clean. So it's impressive what's been done there. Tyndall Park, I remember playing on the asbestos train when I was a kid. How times have changed, but I see how things have been done there, been kept up, and made to be as beautiful for kids today as it was when I was a child. So I think they've done a great job.
All right. Thank you. One other question. You mentioned safety at our school systems. Have you seen the policies and procedures manual for the schools?
I have not seen the procedures for the schools.
Okay. Enough said. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, seeing no further questions, I want to thank you for coming this evening, Mr. Simmons, and we do appreciate your time, so thank you again for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Be careful who you throw in over there.
I noticed this side.
Welcome, Mr. Pierce.
Good evening.
Thank you for being here. We've allotted roughly 2.5 minutes for candidates to respond to questions that the council members, each one of them will ask you. So don't rush, but you do have 20 minutes. But this time, we're going to start off with, on my far left, Mr. Ham. Will you ask the first question, please?
Yes, sir. Mr. Pierce, I'm Jeff Ham. And I've been charged with asking you how long you have been a resident of Benton.
Yes, sir. We moved to Benton the end of 2018 and beginning of 2019 when we moved from Little Rock. I've left Little Rock Police Department then, and so we were ready to, we'd heard great things about Benton and the county, and so we were ready to move down here, and it's been a great decision ever since.
Thank you.
Mr. Pierce, could you please verify your address?
Yes, sir. We live at 1403 Misty Drive over there in Hidden Valley.
Mr. Pierce, can you tell us your understanding on the role of a council person?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. You know, as I mentioned in the paperwork I sent you, to sum it up shortly, it's for the people, for the people of Benton. I think there's an idea of city positions, government positions, state positions, that this is something that I can promote myself, and I don't view it that way. I think this is a very unique position, position for your neighbors, for your future of the city, for the future of our families. And so that's how I would summarize it, is for the people, because if you don't have an idea and a goal to make the city better and grow appropriately and expand appropriately, then I don't think you would have, someone would have an appropriate goal for this position.
All right. What enticed you to apply for the position?
Yes, sir. So as I mentioned in the paperwork I sent in, we've got 4 small children and a wife that we've lived here, like I said, since 2019. And what entices me to apply for this position is we live in a great city. We have a great city. The city has grown wonderfully, even just in the 6-7 years that we've lived here. And so what has enticed me to apply for this is I think this is a great opportunity to continue on Mr. Donner's legacy of helping the city grow. And in my professional experience, whether it be in sales or in my volunteering at the sheriff's office, I have had the unique opportunity to work with a large budget, millions of dollars, keeping a P&L statement monthly to make sure those things line up and that things are growing in the right way. And so because of that, with my experience and having, small children we're going to continue raising in Benton, that's what motivated me to apply for this position, to help this board, but also help propel the city of Benton and to continue in a great trajectory that it's currently in.
Thanks, John Ward, for being here this evening.
Yes, sir.
How do you see yourself serving the citizens in this role?
Yeah, so kind of piggybacking off what I said to Mr. Hart there, in my professional experience, a city board position, in my understanding of it, you have the fiscal responsibility, you also have the growth responsibility, but you also have a responsibility to the constituents in your ward, right? And so how I can grow and benefit in this position, it is the unique professional history that I have with being in sales, also being at the sheriff's office, but also how I serve in our church and including that, and knowing my neighbors and knowing the area that I live in. That's how I think I can benefit that is through the professional experience of funding. Because like I said, this position has a fiscal responsibility. And so with that experience, I think it's a great fit for me in this position.
Thank you.
Mr. Pierce, why should this council choose you above all other applicants?
Yes, ma'am. Humbly, I think I am the best fit for this position because having 4 kids that I am going to continue raising in Benton, I'll obviously have a selfish motivation to want the city of Benton to grow well. You see other municipalities, whether it be in Arkansas or in other states, that, they are growing, but I don't know if you could say they're growing appropriately in terms of how they spend their money, how, the programs they might support. And so
directly answer your question, why I think I'm the best candidate for this position is because, I am younger. I'm going to continue to live in this city, hopefully till I retire, Lord willing. But also, as I alluded to, I got a couple other questions. My professional history is unique. Been a police officer. I've completed seminary. And like I said, I'm in sales now. And so all those things, my goal in life, based on my career choices, I have wanted to serve others. I know sales, yes. As I tell my customers, yes, I got to make some money for myself and my company, right? I mean, they'd let me go, let me do something else. But the unique position of sales is I am serving my customers, just like I would be serving the citizens of Benton. In working at the sheriff's office in the Little Rock Police Department, I've served those citizens, because anytime you pick up a call and they send you to someone's house, it's most likely one of the worst days in somebody's life when the police officers get there, right? And so I've had a unique ability to learn how to work with people, whether it be at the sheriff's office or as a salesman, that I work great with people, and I feel like I have other people, whether it be in my city, my neighborhood, my ward, whatever, I have their needs at heart first thing on my mind. That's why I think I would be the best choice for this position.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Pierce, will you be campaigning for this position come August of this year?
That's the plan. Yes, ma'am. I've been talking with my wife and just some other mentors in my life previous to Mr. Donner's unfortunate passing that I had planned on running for this position already before this position opened up to fill the end of his term. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Pierce, thank you for being here. We appreciate your interest in serving the citizens of Benton. I've got a two-part question for you.
Okay.
Do you have any questions for any of us or the mayor that you'd like to ask? And then, is there anything else about yourself that you'd like for us to know?
People tell you who work in my office, if I don't write it down, I'm going to forget. So I had to make sure I got that for you there.
I suffer a similar condition.
Yes, sir. I guess the main question I have for anyone sitting here is, obviously this is a unique opportunity because it is filling Mr. Donner's position. I guess the main question here is what, on y'all's viewpoint, coming from you, what is your expectation from someone who is going to fill that seat? What's your expectation for them in terms of, the rest of this, term, but also any positions that Mr. Donner held specifically on committees or anything like that?
I'll go ahead and address something, the expectation is that we fall right into the line Mr. Donner did with dignity and respect, to listen to the people, to help the people, to be a servant for the people. One thing Mr. Donner always said is it's good for our citizens. And we've got to continue that tradition on because there are 9 members here that's been serving the community very well by doing that very same thing, by always asking that one question, is it good for the citizens? And I think that's the expectation of whoever gets the position tonight, that's what we're going to expect of them, to ask that same question. Is it good for the citizens? Yes, you represent Ward 3, but you also represent the 40,000 people that live in the city of Benton. So you've got to play everything into consideration at one time. Yes. What's best for the people.
If I may, Mr. Mayor, kind of add to your point, having joined the council initially in the same fashion, and Alderman Lyons did as well. We both were appointed from open seats as well. From having experienced that, my expectation would be that someone comes in truly with that servant's heart, ready to serve, but not so ready to serve that they're too eager to make an impact. Come in, listen, learn, understand what the challenges are, understand the constraints that we work under, understand the abilities that we have, how far we can go, what the law allows us to do. Don't necessarily be so anxious to make a splash. We'll very much value your opinion and your perspective and your experience, but be willing to ask questions first rather than offer solutions. That would be my expectation.
And I'll add to that too, as far as Mr. Donner's legacy on the council, he cared a lot about the employees too. You know, having good employees is the backbone here for city government. Yes, we want to serve the people, but we can't serve the people if we don't have good people here at City Hall and our different offices and departments and public safety all across the city and animal services and so forth. So making sure that not just the citizens, but the employees have the resources. But as the fiscal responsibility, make sure that we have the financial resources to meet those expectations of the employees as well.
Quick question, you mentioned constituents serving and so forth. How would you go about talking to your constituents? How would you go about seeking them out to find out what their issues are, their concerns are, and helping them alleviate those concerns, feel better about what you're doing for them, how you're helping?
Yes, sir. So just to be clear, you're asking how I would seek out and interact with the people and near where I live, that's what you're asking? Yeah, so great question. So I joke with customers. I'm being from Jessieville originally. I'm not great at a whole lot of things, right? But what I am good at, I'm good at talking to people, interacting with people. What is kind of unique about what I do, years ago, I said a whole other lifetime. I spent 5 years teaching high school. I taught school at Lakeside in Hot Springs. And I started driving a school bus. And so to continue, I have a retirement. So to continue having that retirement as well as my retirement of this position, I drive a school bus for the city of Benton, or the Benton School District, excuse me. And that's a really unique, that's one facet of how I can interact. You know, I see nearly all those students' parents every morning. We say hi, they say, hey, John Mark. I say, hi, Mr. whoever it is. Hi, Mrs. whoever it is. And so that's one way. And I know that's not a very long, I got to get your kids to school, right? But that's one way. But also every night, I say every night, that's an exaggeration. Most nights, my wife and 4 kids and I, we go walk the neighborhood I could stand to lose a few pounds. And so we go in and walk in the neighborhood, and we see, not everyone obviously, but we see quite a few people. So that's a way to do it. But also, you know, I go to church right up here at First Baptist, and so we see a lot of people that live in the same area as we do. And so those are just a few examples of how I would. Now, obviously, when at church, you can't be listening about, you know, the sermon and say, hey, what do you think about this new tax increase? Obviously, that's not what I'm saying. But those are great opportunities to say, hey, I know you live over in North. Hey, I know you live over on Volcanic, or wherever it is. Hey, what do you think about this we're doing? So to directly answer your question, that's how I would go about, you know, starting those conversations and seeking people out.
I do have a question. What do you see basically as the wants, the needs of the city and even Ward 4?
What I see for the needs of the city, you're saying, currently. You know, I don't know if I would say a need per se, but to continue doing the things that's currently happening in the city. You know, just for example, you know, the 4th of July fireworks every third Thursday, things like that. You know, when I alluded to promoting things that have good growth for the city of Benton, I think those are the things that we need to continue focusing on, adding events. Whether that may be a need or not, I don't think that is the definition of need. But that's my view on how we continue, you know, getting sponsors so we can be fiscally responsible on that. But things like that, those kind of my vision of how we can have good growth in the city of Benton. But personally, you know, this is a selfish reason I've seen, and I know the city of Benton's not this way, but in my time at the city of Little Rock, and also in some ways at the sheriff's office, you know, can be a negative view of, you know, police, public works, not necessarily the fire department. Everybody loves when the firefighters come see them, you know, so that's different. But as someone who may fill a position on this, I am pro-police, pro-fire, pro that, and I think that's a need, whether it be a direct need or a need in the aspect of let's continue to support this aspect of our city. I would directly answer your question saying that's the need I think needs to be continue to be fulfilled in the city of Benton.
What does it mean to be pro-fire, pro-police? What do you mean?
Yeah, no, great question. I appreciate you asking that. Not in the aspect of you get a blank check or a blank approval to do whatever you want. That's not what I think pro-fire and pro-police is. What I think pro-fire and pro-police is, okay, you've got a great plan, or you budget, you know, told us your budget of what you need for the year. Okay, let's discuss that. Let's get that right. Let's get the approval of what you need. But also, let's support them. This isn't a, you know, let's question every belief, or excuse me, every decision you make. You know, we obviously hire a great police chief and a great fire chief and let them do their job appropriately because they're experts in that aspect. But let's have a little bit of accountability. Okay, this is what we're doing. This is where you're wanting to go. This is what you want your budget to be, et cetera, et cetera. Support them, and hey, you've got a great plan because you are experienced at this, but let's make sure this does align with our fiscal budget. You know, make sure we're not over expenditures there, things like that. You know, go into the attitude of, you know what, you do a great job, you're going to make good decisions. Let's just make sure that we're going to continue doing that. That's what I view. This is my answer of how you support fire employees. No, sir. I think yes, sir. Well, hey, thank you for having me, and I appreciate your time.
Good evening, Mr. Ponder, Mr. Jerry Ponder.
How you, sir?
Thank you for being here tonight. At this time, we have allotted roughly 2.5 minutes for each candidate to respond to a question written or asked by each one of the council members present. So at this time, I'd like to start the question. Mr. Hand, would you start question number 1, please?
Yes, sir. Mr. Ponder, we know each other. How long have you been a resident of Benton?
Since January the 8th, 2001.
Could you please verify your address?
4414 Cumberland Circle, Benton, Arkansas, 72019.
Mr. Ponder, can you tell us your understanding of the role of a council person?
Sure. So my opinion of a council person is to be a member of the legislative body of the city of Benton. They could be involved in ideas, information related to ordinances. They can be involved in resolutions, a little less formal than ordinances. I think probably the most important function that they serve is being a conduit between the residents of their district and the city as a whole, and the council and the administration.
What enticed you to apply for this position?
A couple of things. I think most of you know that Bill Donner and I were, Bill was as good a friend as I have walked on the face of the earth. Bill and I served here from 2007 through 2018. I'd like to be able to continue some of the work that Bill began and to continue some of that legacy. I think that the institutional knowledge that I have with having served 12 years before
will create an opportunity for me to be able to acclimate myself to the situation very readily and to be able to function within this body at a level that is appropriate from the very first day.
Thanks, Jerry, for being here. Good evening. How do you see yourself serving our citizens in this role?
So I think probably, we can dovetail back into what I said in the prior answer. It's important that the citizens have a liaison. Within the body itself, I don't think that there is any committee or sector of the council that I've not been involved with at some point in time during my tenure with the city. The company that I work for in my day job is very, very community focused and community oriented. Provides me with a great opportunity to be flexible there as to meetings for the council, events for the council, opportunities to be out there and to be a voice for the constituents of our city.
Jerry, why do you think this council should choose you above all other applicants?
I think the first part of that, once again, and I'm dovetailing back in, Ms. Ellen, but the institutional knowledge, the time served, the familiarity. I worked with two different mayors during my tenure, two very, very different personalities, two very, very different modes of operation, and I don't think that there will be any issue at all in my fitting in as a member of the council and working with Mayor Palmer and the other department heads. A lot of familiarity there. I saw some familiar faces when I walked into the room there for folks that have been faithful to our city for a long, long time, that have functioned in roles as department heads for a long, long time and do great service to our city. I think you obviously need to know those lines, if you will, that are administrative versus legislative and department head or city business where you don't have any business going, and maybe stay in your lane would be an appropriate way to put that. But I think the institutional knowledge is probably the strongest suit that I have.
Thank you. Mr. Ponder, will you be campaigning for this position come August of this year? Will you be campaigning for this position come August of this year?
I do not know the answer.
Yes, sir. All right, thank you.
Jerry, thanks for being here. We really appreciate you and appreciate your history of service with the community and your willingness to serve again. I got a two-part question for you. First, do you have any questions for any of us, any of the council members or the mayor that you may have? And then, is there anything else about your history or willingness to serve that you'd like for us to know tonight?
I don't think that I have any questions for the council or the mayor. I certainly keep up and stay abreast of the things that are happening. I still have relationships with several of you and see you at all sorts of functions, whether they are attending grandkids, baseball and soccer now, games, sharing a grandchild, charitable events like golf events this Friday, if it doesn't rain, perhaps. a lot of, good, and this, service is a very big part of who I am and what I do. Not just within the city, not just within my job, not just within the church, and not just within the community, but it is truly ingrained in what it is that I do, how I carry myself, how I function, and how I interact with people. And I think that all of that starts off with being very rooted in my faith. Christy and I have raised 6 kids. Most of you know that. 24 grandkids, 3 great-grandkids, and people from all walks of life helped us at various times along the way. Advice, financially, mentoring, mom and dad's night out, because we needed to go somewhere away from those 6 children. And I believe that we are all called to give back in some way. Maybe not the same way, but in some way. And that's what I'm spending my time doing. And if I am successful and am chosen, that's what I will do in this position.
I have a question. Jerry, what do you see as kind of the biggest needs for Ward 4 and then maybe even the city, or Ward 3, I'm sorry. It's me in Ward 4.
I was going to say, Ward 4 is you.
Thanks for reminding me.
Here's testing you.
So, just what do you see as the biggest needs for maybe the ward and the city moving forward?
We've made some great strides. The new animal control shelter, phenomenal thing. Long needed. Some of the things that we needed 15 years ago, and we're going to need 15 years from now if we continue to grow at anywhere close to the same level that we are growing. And that is infrastructure needs, whether that's water, sewer, streets. I think we all know that we have just a couple more years remaining on our current electricity contract. That will be something that will be of very much prominence to the citizens of the city, and future power sources, perhaps purchasing power and additional power plants other than the one at Osceola that we have an ownership interest in now, so that we are not so beholden to the spot market. Some of the wonderful things too, when we came here from North Louisiana, and we were looking for good schools. You could check that box. We're checking for low crime. You can check that box. Our people do a wonderful job there. The safety is very, very good. Continuing to grow and work on those as the city grows and opportunities present themselves would be my response.
Other questions? Yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to add or say at this time?
Thank you very much for the opportunity, and that is truly what I consider this to be. The circumstances by which we arrived here were not opportune, and not anything that ever crossed my mind that such a situation would occur with Bill's passing. Having said that, and I know that all of you are aware of my relationship with him, we thought about this, and I say we, Chrissy and I, and some prayerful consideration, a very important aspect in our lives. And some of the thought process involved in all of this would it make Bill happy? And the answer to that was yes. So that played a factor in my willingness to pursue it and come out of retirement, so to say. But we've been very happy, very fortunate, very blessed to live in our city, well received here. Even after 25 years, there's some folks who'll still tell me I'm not from Saline County, but it's a lot better than it once was. But we were very well accepted here, been very happy here, and if given the opportunity, I look forward to serving with you and working with you all.
Thank you. Thank you for showing.
Thank you, Kenny. Thank you.
Welcome. Welcome, Cindy Bowden,
Yes.
correct?
Yes,
Okay. Well, we have allotted, roughly 2.5 minutes for each candidate to respond to questions asked, one each for each council member present.
Okay.
So at this time, I'd like to start with my far left, Mr. Ham, would you ask the first question, please?
Yes, sir. Ms. Bowden, my name is Jeff Ham, and my first question is, how long have you been a resident of Benton?
Since the day I was born.
And how long is that?
I don't think you're supposed to ask that. I'll be 73 in August.
Well, that's not old.
I think
Thank
that's
you for
illegal.
answering that question.
Yes,
Could you please verify your address?
522 West Conway Street in Benton.
Cindy, can you tell us your understanding of the role of a council person?
To represent the people in your area, to implement ordinances, and when they have issues, to be available for those people in your neighborhoods.
All right. What enticed you to apply for the position?
Well, I like to come and visit with y'all on a regular basis. I like to learn about how things are done in town and the improvements that have been made, and just how the government works. I'm interested in being a representative of the citizens and in the community. I like working in the community in different ways.
Hi, Sandy. Good evening. Thanks for being here. How do you see yourself serving our citizens in this role?
Well, as I said, I've been coming for quite some time to these meetings, and I've helped with a couple of ordinances that have been passed already that have been reviewed after decades of neglect, and I have issues in my own neighborhoods downtown that I would like to represent and see that things are being done, the speed bumps and drainage issues, the animal control ordinances and all downtown. But the traffic downtown is the main thing that I would like to be able to work on for my area.
Ms. Bowden, why should this council choose you above all other applicants?
Well, I'm fourth generation resident of Benton. I've been involved in activities my whole adult life, as have my entire family. I enjoy working with the people in the community for the betterment of everyone equally.
Ms. Valley, will you be campaigning for this position come August of this year?
I would like to.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. We really appreciate your interest in all your service that you already do and your interest in serving further. I've got a two-part question for you. The first part is, do you have any questions of this council or the mayor? And then the second part, are there any other things that you'd like for us to know about you?
I don't have any questions. I assume that you all have what I sent in, which tells about everything I have to say about myself. So I don't think there's anything further to add to that.
I have another question.
Okay.
I know you said earlier that traffic issues were part of your ward that you said. Do you have any other concerns for the ward and that maybe the city as a whole moving forward?
The city as a whole, I know that y'all have been working on the drainage issues downtown, and my whole neighborhood is torn up, so I see evidence of that. I would like for there to be, there needs to be some four-way stops downtown around some of the daycares that are nearby my home they're dangerous for the kids. I feel like that the speed humps that have been put in have helped with the speeding issues in our neighborhood. I see it, I hear it outside my window, so I know that those have been helpful, and I hope to see more of those be implemented around town. The traffic in town, I don't know how you could stop that, but when people are coming, I mean, if you're standing out on Market Street, you can hear them roaring down through town. They're obviously speeding, and there's no way to really, I don't know how you would stop that, but I think that there's not congestion, there's not traffic congestion anywhere. But I would like to see, and I have brought this forward different times, for some of the streets downtown, the residential streets, to have parking on one side of the street and not on the other, because the roads are narrow. And when there's an emergency vehicle coming down, it makes it very difficult for emergency vehicles to get through downtown. That is my biggest concern, is emergency vehicles being able to get through in some of the areas downtown.
You've mentioned issues within your ward. What issues do you see at the city level as a whole? We, as an alderman or alderwoman, you represent your ward first and the city as well. So as you mentioned several times about your ward, what about the city? What issues do you see? What changes have you thought of?
I haven't really thought of anything. I think that things have been very progressive downtown. I'm very proud of the progress I see being made downtown. There are a lot of concerns about the empty lots that have been popping up or falling down downtown. Parking would be something that would need to be addressed with some of those issues. But I think I'm very proud of seeing the progress that's been made downtown and how clean and attractive it is, our little town is.
Are there additional questions by the council? Ms. Bowden, would you like to expound or say anything else?
I think I've said enough.
No?
I'm fine.
Well, thank you for being here and spending the time you've given us. And I'll always ask you for questions, getting to know you better.
Yeah.
So thank you again.
Yes, thank you.
You have a good evening. Well, we scheduled 20 minutes for each candidate, and we're way ahead of schedule by about 30 minutes. And the other candidates are not here yet because when I sent them the email on the schedule, we allotted that 20 minutes for each one. So we're going to have to wait for them to arrive before we can proceed on with the interviews. So we'll take a break at this time.
Yes, sir. Mr. Garner, my name is Jeff Ham. And my question for you is, how long have you been a resident of Benton?
I taught here for 23 years. I'd say I'm a resident for the last 21 years. I've been teaching here. I retired from Benton. I commuted back and forth from Little Rock. My first teaching job was in Little Rock, and then when I got a job in Benton, Nick got in the 8th grade, started playing sports at 7:30 in the morning, and we moved to Benton. Reed was old enough to drive and commute back and forth, and he was a big boy, but so we moved. Long story short, we moved about 21 years. Same house, only one house.
Thank you.
Hartford Hills.
Thank you.
Would you please verify your address?
1312 Stanford, Benton, Arkansas, 72019. Hey, now your question needs to be nice. I had him in class, so I'm just going, you know, a little pressure on you. Yeah.
What is the square root? No, I'm just kidding. Mr. Garner, tell us
Gary,
your.
hey, Gary,
Okay,
Mr.
Gary.
Garner retired.
Okay, all right. Well, Gary, tell us your understanding of the role of a council person.
It runs the city. Everybody has to get along. You make choices. I think there's some huge choices coming up with Buc-ee's coming in and all the money coming in from that, and with all the expansion out there, there's going to be a lot of decisions made on the city, on the growth, on everything. You guys support the mayor supports you guys. It has to be teamwork.
Gary, again, thanks for coming. What enticed you about this position?
Well, you know, I first ran against Donner, I want to say it was 5 or 6 years ago, 6, 7, I don't know. It was pre-COVID, but I knew I was going to retire. And so I just kind of woke up with wild hair and said that was a good way to spend some of my retirement time. I already was a teacher. I was used to doing things for people, and I think you got to have a purpose in life. And being retired and sitting around and playing golf or pickleball all day isn't a purpose. And so I wanted a purpose, and the purpose was to help the city.
Thank you, Mr. Garner, for being here this evening. Pleasure to meet you. How do you see yourself serving our citizens in this role?
Well, like I said, I'm retired, so I've got time during the day, go to ribbon cutting, to help the mayor in whatever he needs during the day. I know most of you guys work, and so I have time to do things outside the box to help the city. To be there, you know, sometimes just being there for people is good enough.
Thank you.
Gary, why should this council choose you above all other applicants?
Me above the other ones because I'm better than them, but you know, I looked at the list and there was you know, one that I thought wouldn't do good teamwork. There's one that I think would do a good job, but I think you need to run for this office. And I did do that. I ran against him and I got over 1,000 votes. I think I deserve it. I've got time to do it. I think I can be an asset. I was a teacher for 25 years. I was also vice president of a regional investment banking firm before that for 9.5 years. I worked ran my own personnel agency for 2.5 years. So I've done things that I think the city could use my talents for. I do everything backwards. Most people teach and then go into private. I did all that private stuff and got into teaching. Now, I was an investment banker. I didn't get into teaching because I was rich. I got into this because that's what I wanted to do. That was my passion.
Thank you.
Mr. Garner, will you be campaigning for this position come August of this year? Will you be campaigning for this position come August of this year?
You know, I'm retired and I kind of go day to day. I thought I originally would say no to that and let somebody else do that. But if I feel that I'm fulfilling a purpose and you like me and I like you come August, then I'm not saying I wouldn't run for it.
So is that a yes or no?
That's a maybe.
So a maybe. Okay,
Dependent variable, right?
thank you.
Gary, thanks for being here. Appreciate your service to the community for the years and your willingness to serve in another capacity. Got a two-part question for you. First, do you have any questions of anyone here on the council or of the mayor? And then are there other things that you'd like to tell us about yourself that would help us feel that you're the best candidate?
Well, being an algebra teacher, I think problem solving is the whole reason you teach algebra. You want to know why you have algebra? It's to solve problems, and I think I can solve problems. I've dealt with the community. I've dealt with 8th grade students, and I've dealt with 8th grade students' parents. And I was sometimes the guy the principal came to, Hutchins and some of them came to when they were having problems with a parent. So I think I can help in that area. And I think Benton could be the fastest growing town in no time, and I want to be part of that. You know, I worked in radio. My dad had a radio station. You worked for my dad, just so everybody knows there's a little personal deal there. He was a great DJ for my dad in high school. Then I worked as a news director for K-Fine, the largest radio station in Arkansas up at Jonesboro. The investment banking, I did 9.5 years, hated every day of it. Straight commission for 9.5 years, never took a vacation day. But my kids all graduated from Benton. My wife's sort of from Benton. She went to high school with you, Harmony Grove. It's now a real school. They play football. I just think there's so much I just think Benton, you know, I grew up in Searcy, and I just see this as a step up from Searcy by far. It's progressive, it's growing, and I like to be a part of it, and I think I can help with that. I think I can do that better than anybody else that was on that list that I saw.
Thank you.
Gary, I've got another question, what do you see specifically for Ward 3 as some of the needs? What do you see as some of the needs in Ward 3?
Hartford Hills needs a better job with the lights at night. My wife has called up there several times. It's a good area of town, and it's growing out past Hartford Hills. I would see with the growth of Benton enlarging this right here to more people. You know, I think we're really blessed to be in Hartford Hills where we're at. Back when I did go campaigning, I knocked on doors. The only thing anybody said was, "Don't mess with the garbage, people." And that was the biggest complaint. Not really a complaint, but don't mess with the garbage. Don't make it city. Which I got to be honest, just astonishes me that we have 5 trucks in one day go by my house. But that's what people want to do. That's what people want to do.
Taking it to a broader perspective, Gary, what do you feel like are some of the needs that we need to address as a city? And you talked earlier about, you know, the growth that we're having and Buc-ee's and big decisions need to be made around that. What are some things specifically you think we need to be looking at?
Coffee shops. You and Jake need a coffee shop out there. I think that Southwest Trail, I think, is huge. I think there's a demographic that Benton needs that's younger, people your age, Jake's age, to move in. Moving out towards Buc-ee gets people away from Bryant where they're not maybe going to a Bryant store by mistake. I think that whole deal out there is, you know, it's unlimited what the potential could do. Pickleball courts, of course, I play pickleball a lot. That's a huge deal. It's a huge deal. The outdoor courts here, there's only like 3, and I don't know that there's a lot of activity with them. And I'm just saying from a tournament standpoint, I mean, softball tournaments and baseball tournaments. Well, pickleball's now, you know, a big deal. As long as you have an ambulance there for old people like me who go backwards. But, you know, Ortho loves it. Ortho probably support the whole deal.
What other improvements would you like the city to make, you mentioned, you talked about talking to constituents in your ward. What things would you make as a whole for the city to improve?
You know, I'd like to drive through the city and see the poorer parts of town have better streets. You know, Hartford Hills got new asphalt this year. I think there's some other streets in here they need some work done on them. And it needs to be across the board, working on the streets. You know, I feel safe in Benton. But we got to look at, with all the new schools going on and the Buc-ee's and everything being out there, do we need a substation for the police? Now, that would be something that they would have to recommend, but how fast can we get somebody out there? And maybe we have 3 police officers out there at the schools already. I don't know. The walking trail, I think, is a huge deal. I was kind of talking to a friend up in Rogers, and they have those trails that go from Eureka Springs all the way to Fayetteville on a bicycle, and it's a huge deal. And he claims, and I got no reason, that the value of his houses have gone up that are close to the trails, because that's the new demographic with the coffee shops and stuff. I don't ride a bike. I live in Hartford Hills. I'd have a heart attack getting out of there. You know, I'd have to load up my bike to go somewhere. But there's a whole nother subculture that just ride bikes and go and do stuff like that we really don't have here in Benton. I mean, we have some, and they go to Little Rock to go to bike down around the river, and then they're on the interstate. But that's a big deal. Now, my in-laws, they don't want it, but they're old, and they don't see that, you know, they think it's a bunch of kids riding a bike, popping wheelies. It's not. It's young people and older people riding a bike for exercise. So I think that's a huge deal.
What other questions from the council? Anything further you'd like to add?
Gary, Mr. Garner retired. It doesn't do any good for you, but for the kids, I like to say that. You know, I'd love to be able to do this. I'm retired. I like a purpose besides waking up and playing pickleball, and I'm horrible at golf now. I'd like a purpose. I think this would look good. This wouldn't look good. That's not the correct way to say it. I think I can do good. I've got the time to do good, and I know how to manage people. So that's my strongest point, is I can avoid conflict. Which some people would argue, but I can avoid conflict, and I can help do this. And I think Benton's on the cutting edge of being big time.
Well, being no further questions, I want to thank you for coming to see Mr. Gary.
All right.
And we've enjoyed the conversation and getting to know you all better by asking these questions. So thank you again, and have a good one.
All right, thank you. My name's Dave Elton. I'm going to steal my wife.
So you'll still shake my hand?
Thank you.
I've taken my head off, but
Oh, I don't. Hey, he called me and said, "Ready to get here." I didn't even brush my hair.
Well, it was good.
Fit right in.
Thank you.
Welcome, Mary Grace Jordan.
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you for being here. I hope you'll indulge us by letting us ask a few questions to get to know you a little better. We're going to get 20 minutes for your time to ask questions and answers about the number of questions that each alderman or alderwoman will ask, about 2.5 minutes. So please take your time and feel comfortable taking the questions to your list. So at this time, I'd like to start my far left with Councilmember King. Will you ask the first question?
Yes, sir. Ms. Daughtry, my name's Jeff Am, and I've been tasked with the question of asking you, how long have you been a Benton resident?
I've lived in Benton since July of 2017. And then I lived on the other side of Benton, and then 2 years ago, we moved to our house off Lenore.
Thank you.
Could you please verify the address?
Yes, sir. 1529 Lenore, Benton, Arkansas, 72019.
Mary Grace, can you tell us your understanding of the role of a council person?
Yes. So city council is the legislative body for the city, so they pass ordinance, approve budgets, funding requests, and anything else a legislative body would do.
All right. What was it that enticed you to apply for this position?
See a need, feel a need. I was checking the news as I do every afternoon because it's part of my job to stay informed, and I saw that there was an opening and that Mr. Donner had passed, and I thought, with my skills and personality, I could be a good fit for city council and fill the need for the time being and possibly run later.
Mary Grace, good evening. It's a pleasure to meet you. How do you see yourself serving our citizens in this role?
So I see myself as serving citizens in that public safety is incredibly important. I'm a deputy prosecuting attorney here in Saline County, and I see what law enforcement does on a day-to-day basis. And I think that's a very important thing for a city council person to observe. I only see a quarter of what they do, right? And I believe that public safety is so important for our community, and working every day on a very micro level. I work on individual cases with individual defendants trying to make a big impact, but I would really love the opportunity to be on city council to help make an impact on a macro level in the city as far as public safety. Also, I love this town. My husband and I chose to live here. We chose to raise our family here. We're originally from the River Valley, so Darnell, Russellville area. I moved here to go to law school. We fell in love with Benton, and we decided to just stay here and raise our family here. We had the opportunity to move back a couple years ago, and my dad was sick, and I wanted to be closer, but we just felt like Benton was a place for us.
Mary Grace, why should this council choose you above all other applicants?
I don't know. I don't know the other applicants, so I can't say that I'm the best, right? I can say that I'm a really hard worker, and I'm very dedicated to what I do. I'm a very committed person, and I think that I have a unique perspective, especially being a transplant, which I know is sometimes a dirty word in Saline County, right? But I am a transplant with a young family, and I think that's a very valuable perspective to have on city council, because I chose to be here, and I want to continue the path that people before me have started.
Thank you.
Ms. Mary Grace, will you be campaigning for this position come August of this year?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mary Grace, thank you for being here. Thank you for your service to our community, for what you do professionally, and thank you for your interest in serving in this capacity. I've got a two-part question for you. Do you have any questions of anyone here on the council or of the mayor And then are there other things that you'd like to tell us about yourself that would help us see you as the best candidate?
I think my primary question would be, I don't know, do I just choose somebody to ask my
Sure.
question to? All right. Councilwoman Cole, what is the most difficult part of being a city councilwoman, do you think?
Patience. Patience, it's a deliberative body. It's a deliberative body, and we want to fix problems like right away, but it's a legislative process, and that was, for me, that was the biggest frustration was, let's fix it now, but it has to go through committee, it has to go through, a waiting period, unless it's emergency clause, so.
I'll take one.
Like I said, I'm not patient.
Now, say your question one more time. What was the most difficult, what was your question?
What is the most challenging part of being a city councilwoman?
Well, he answered a lot of it, but a lot of things is if you have a resident that want a problem solved, if you can't solve that problem immediately, they want it done now, and you can't, there's always steps to get things done, and you try to please them, and a lot of times you can't please a resident to their satisfaction. All you can do is just meet them halfway, and sometimes you can't do that, and they just gotta settle for what you give them. And then a lot of times they just have to deal with what you have. And you just work with them, you just try to satisfy them, and just go with the first solution, second solution, and then if that don't work, some residents you just can't please, you just try to pass the time. And I think that's really the hardest thing.
Well, say I have a lot of experience with that. As an attorney and a prosecutor, I am really good at doing what's best for the community and also knowing that I'm not going to make everyone happy. And, 90% of the time, every decision I make, is according to law and the guidelines I have. But also I know it, and I have to make it knowing that no one's going to be happy with me. So I get that. I'm very familiar with that feeling and how to cope with that feeling.
We just do the best we can.
That was my only.
Mayor Grace, what do you see as some of the biggest issues regarding Ward 3?
I think growth, it's a very residential ward. And so I would say that growing and commercial growth needs to be very moderate, and a public safety, ensuring that, and I say public safety, and that goes way beyond law enforcement and first responders and firefighters. I have a huge heart for firefighters. My twin brother's a firefighter in Russellville, so I'm very passionate about what they face in the day-to-day basis. But public safety to me is, traffic conditions, ensuring that there are street lights, and all the small things. And animal control, I'm very familiar with animal control and the hard work that Mr. Parsons and his crew does. And I think just ensuring that everybody has a safe, thriving community to live in.
Mayor Grace, is there anything specific regarding public safety that you feel is paramount that we need to be looking at?
I think that, no. I mean, there are some things that are paramount and very important, but I will say, I feel like the city currently does a very good job of what it does, of how y'all manage it. The Benton Police Department, I do work closely with them. They are, Chief Hodges and those men and women are some of the best at what they do. So I wouldn't say there's a glaring issue that I think we need to fix. But also, I have a very narrow scope right now. And so I think as a city council person, I would see a larger scope, and there would probably be some issues that I would be beating down the doors to fix.
Mayor Grace, what are some other things about you that we should know? Sway us to say, yes, this is the person I think should be on this council.
And like I mentioned earlier, I'm a transplant with a young family. My husband and I moved here by choice, and we have a 1-year-old son named Owen. He just turned 1 on Saturday, and it was the best, hardest day of my life. I don't know how my mom managed to do that with 4 kids. But I think it's important that having somebody with a young family, I think your perspective changes. And I've noticed that I'm talking to friends that have kids or versus friends that have older kids. What I think is incredibly valuable in a community kind of changes as your kids get older. Right now, I want my neighborhood streets to be safe because when my kid's riding his little toy scooter down the road, I want to make sure that there's speed bumps in place and nobody's speeding and all those very minor things that mean a lot to growing families.
Our city is growing and it's growing west, and you probably know that. Paul talked about Buc-ee's at one time. What other things would you like to see, and how would you like to see the city grow? And what, besides the direction, what would you like to see that help the city grow?
I would like the city to grow responsibly. I've mentioned public safety, but also when we think about growth, we have to ensure that law enforcement and first responders have what they need to service a growing population. And so that would be my biggest concern is I love growth. I want this community to thrive. I think Buc-ee's is great. We need good paying jobs, and a great enterprise, but also I think that as city council, we need to be mindful of the impact of that growth and how that affects individuals and their homes and their safety.
Any additional questions from the council? Is there any final statement you'd like to make to tell us a little bit more about yourself or anything?
Not that I can think of. I'm happy to answer any other questions y'all have.
Well, thank you for coming this evening. We appreciate your time and indulging us in all these questions. So with that, have a good evening.
Thank you.
At this time, our final candidate has spoken. So at this time, I would like for a motion to adjourn to executive meeting. Is there a second? Second. We're at this time, then we will adjourn to executive meeting. And that will be the mayor's council chambers upstairs.
I got stuff. I'm sorry, get out these chairs. I see them sitting in the lap. Big deal.
Did you give it to us?
Let's go. Yes, ma'am. They done left me.
All right, I'm going to reopen this special call meeting. And first thing I want to say is thank everyone for coming and spending the time. We had a huge discussion because we had a lot of good candidates. And so at that time, I do want to thank Judge Houston for volunteering to come and be a part of this and be available to swear in our next council person. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion.
Make the motion because I'm in Ward 3, and I just want to congratulate all candidates. It was a very difficult decision, and if our vote was indicative of how competitive the next election will be, it will be very competitive. And again, congratulations, all outstanding candidates, and it was a very difficult decision. Deliberative body, we went through several rounds of votes, and I'd like to nominate Chad Slaughter for Ward 3, Seat 1 for the next council seat to replace Bill Donner.
Yes, sir. Frank Baptist,
Yes.
Steve Lee,
Yes.
Jeff Ham.
Yeah.
Trevor Valines,
Yes.
Judd Hart,
Yes.
Jeff Morrow,
Yes.
Evelyn Reed,
Yes.
Ian Spencer Cole,
Yes.
Steve Brown.
All right, Mr. Slaughter, congratulations. Welcome to the council at this time. If you'll come forward, please. Judge Houston, if you'll come forward, I have you an oath to Cindy's filling out the top for you. And here's your pen to sign it. Oh, never mind. Take mine back. And the reason I asked Judge Houston is because him and Mr. Donner ate lunch together every Friday and were very close. And when I called him, he said it would be a great honor to come and swear in the replacement for Mr. Bill Donner. So thank you, Judge, for giving him your time and being here.
Oh, thank you. And I want to thank you for inviting me to do this. As you know, Bill and I were very close friends. And this council is what brought us together initially as friends. We sat next to each other for 14 years and developed a very, very special bond. And when Vinny passed, he and I started having lunch, and it just started out as a single lunch, to get him out of the house. And that Friday led to another Friday, and that Friday led to another Friday. And until we had spent almost every Friday for 6 years talking about a lot of things, talking about our faith in God, talking about things of the city, the business of the city, and the city that he loved. And he loved his job here. It gave him purpose, and it was something that he truly, truly enjoyed. And I look back at my experience and the many relationships that I've developed over the years, and what this city has meant to me and what it's brought to me as well. Relationships with people like Charles Cunningham, very special man. And Jolie Richards. I was thinking about Jolie. And the many stories that I have about Jolie and David Sparks and so many others. And so again, thank you for this opportunity. And it's my pleasure to swear in Chad, because Chad and I grew up together. We grew up in Arkadelphia. We attended Pine Street Church of Christ together in Arkadelphia. We're roughly, I'm just a year or two older than Chad, even though he looks older than me. And so you couldn't have a better candidate. And I have full faith that he will do an excellent job filling Bill Donner's shoes. And again, so thank you for allowing me to do this. So Chad, come on up. Yes, what's that?
My wife is coming in.
Oh,
Do you
yeah.
mind- Do you mind if we wait just a few minutes?
We
to let her
can,
come in? 'Cause
we
I
certainly,
love her
I will
people.
absolutely, absolutely, we will do that.
As we all know, without people
Yes.
like that, we don't have anything.
Well, that is absolutely the truth. And I have so many, many stories, that, have occurred over, well, during my tenure as city attorney. Some I can share publicly, some I can't. And some I shared at Bill's funeral. But this has really been a wonderful, my experience with the city has been so very wonderful. And looking around and seeing the projects that the city accomplished while I was city attorney, that I played just a small, minute part of seeing the event center, seeing the River Center, seeing those things that I helped participate in just a little bit. And so Benton is a very special place. And one other thing I noticed when I was outside waiting, how many of the candidates were out there and the camaraderie that they shared, how nice they were to each other. This didn't feel like a competition in any stretch of the imagination. They laughed, they talked, and truly enjoyed each other's company, and which says a lot about this city, this community, and how the leaders interact with one another, which is always wonderful to see. So, oh, is Trina here? Trina, come on down. No, I want you to come up here. All right. Good. All right. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Chad Slaughter,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States of America
of the United States of America
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of Arkansas,
of the State of Arkansas,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of Benton City Council member,
of Benton City Council member,
upon which I am now about to enter.
upon which I am now about to enter.
Correct. Did it great. Thank you, sir. Congratulations.
Thank y'all so much.
Chad, Monday night, you'll need to be here. You'll sit in that seat and ready to go. Monday night, there's our first council meeting. Not like putting any pressure. All right, this time, we're going to call this special meeting to adjourn.